Hello, and thank you for joining us. I am Debbie Landoskey, the Quality Assurance Specialist with Safe Kids. Today, we will learn about finalizing a CPS course. As a reminder, this session is not CEU eligible as it has no new CPS technical content. Today's objectives will focus on all aspects of finalizing a course, from how to handle someone on the roster not showing up for class, how to correctly calculate instructor hours, to what to do with that instructor candidate paperwork. We will conclude by talking about course audits. What are they, and what is the responsibility of not only the lead instructor, but the entire instructor team? Lead instructors have many responsibilities before, during, and after a class, but what they do during the class may affect finalizing the course. Since course finalization involves grades, attendance, and instructor hours, accurately documenting throughout the progression of the class will ensure an easier class finalization. Since we know not everything goes as planned, maybe there will be a weather delay, modules take longer than scheduled, or any other unforeseen issues, makes it even more important the lead instructor makes notes. What I like to do is have a copy of the agenda, but on this copy have a space between each of the entries, which is used specifically for documenting adjusted times and making notes on each instructor's participation. Then this will be what I use to ultimately calculate all the instructor hours. You may also want to show this to the instructors at the end of each day to address any calculating discrepancies. Once a class is concluded, the work of the lead instructor is not finished. This is when the course finalization process begins. This presentation will discuss in detail about how to calculate instructor hours, because just being in a class does not mean instructor hours are being earned. We will also talk about properly reporting student grades and what to do with the instructor candidate paperwork. Accurately recording quiz grades and skills evaluation results can easily be accomplished by utilizing the student score sheet, which is available in a PDF form or a fillable document. All the instructor documents, including the instructor prep guide, the planning and logistics guide, along with the student score sheet, can be found in the Protected Instructor Materials section on the CPS Board website by accessing the Instructor Downloads tab on your Safe Kids CPS online profile. So how do we accurately fill in the student score sheet? We will review several scenarios and how to handle documenting the student results. The first scenario is, what if a student misses 9 or more questions before the third quiz? As you know, the maximum number of questions you can miss for all 3 quizzes is 8, and there are no quiz retakes. So looking at the student rebound bar on my student score sheet, during the first quiz, he missed 6 questions, and on the second quiz, he missed 3 questions for a total of 9 missed questions. His total quiz score of 41 would be recorded, and skills evaluation 1, which was also completed, would be marked as passed. Since rebound bar could not continue with the third quiz or complete the remainder of the skills evaluations, you would record a 0 as the score for quiz 3 and mark fail for skills 2, 3, and 4, and obviously a fail for the class final. The bottom right picture depicts a screenshot of the online course finalization page. You will simply fill in the total quiz grade and select pass or fail for the overall skills evaluation results. In this scenario, the final quiz grade would be 25, because it's 25 out of 50, and fail would be marked for the skills results. All of the specific grades are documented on the student score sheet, So this will have to be maintained in the event of a desk audit, which will be discussed later. So now let's talk about a scenario where the student completes and passes all 3 quizzes along with skills 1 through 3. Skills 4, which is the checkup event, and for whatever reason does not pass. Whether the student does not show proficiency with caregiver communication or may provide inaccurate information, or the student had an emergency and was unable to participate in the event. Under emergency circumstances, a lead instructor may schedule a makeup skills evaluation 4, but it must be arranged prior to the original event. The makeup event must be completed within 2 weeks of the class and must be done with an instructor for the teaching team. In this scenario, the student, car seat technician, was unable to make up the event in the allotted time, so he would receive a 50 for the total quiz score and pass for skills 1 through 3. Because he received a fail for skills 4, the overall skills grade would result in a fail since you were required to pass all 4 skills assessments. The next scenario is a student who passes quiz 1 and skills 1 and leaves for court after showing you a subpoena. He only misses 2 modules and makes it back in time for to take quiz 2. How would you document his grades? Well, we know that a student must attend the entire class to pass. Therefore, the student would not be eligible to continue with the class. Since the student did complete quiz 1, you document the number of questions correct, which in this case was 20, but the overall hands-on assessment would be marked as failed for not completing skills 2 through 4. On the student grade sheet, it would show quiz grade as 20 for the first quiz and 0 for quizzes 2 and 3. The skills evaluation would be scored as pass for the first and fail for each of the subsequent skills evaluations, including fail for the overall on the student score sheet. One question we generally get is what to do if a student does not show up for a course. In this situation, you simply mark the student as absent and do not enter any grade. You can do this either on the finalize course tab with the rest of the students or the mark absent only tab. Only mark a student absent if they did not show up at all. If they attended any portion of the course, enter their grades at that time of their departure. If someone is unable to attend, they have one of 3 options. They can either reschedule their registration to another public course, they can substitute a friend or a colleague in their place, or they can put in for a cancellation, and the refund fee would depend on when the cancellation was done. Now let's talk about instructor hours, how to calculate the hours and what actually constitutes as actual teaching hours for each instructor. Each instructor hour must complete 20 instructor hours during each certification cycle to recertify. It is important to understand that just being present as an instructor does not constitute being awarded teaching hours. Teaching hours are earned by accounting for actual teaching time or participation in hands-on skills exercises and testing, and should not be rounded up. For example, if an instructor taught a module for 1 hour and 45 minutes, that is the amount of time that you document, not 2 hours. To assist the lead instructor with correctly calculating teaching hours, it is important accurate times are kept as well as each instructor's participation. The lead instructor should verify each instructor's hours with them either daily, which is recommended, or at least at the end of the class before entering them into the course finalization system. Once the hours have been entered into their system, there is no changing them, so that is why it is also each instructor's responsibility to keep track of their own hours and verify them with the lead instructor. After teaching a course, each instructor should verify the instructor hours that were entered into their online profile are correct. Any discrepancies in the entries should be brought to the attention of Safe Kids Certification immediately. What is sometimes confusing is what does and what does not qualify to earn teaching hours. The most obvious that qualifies is active lecturing time. But what if one instructor is teaching a module with another instructor? If team teaching is performed throughout the module, meaning both instructors are actively teaching the module, then both instructors would earn the same amount of teaching hours. But if a module is divided up and instructor A teaches the first half and instructor B teaches the second half, each instructor would only earn the hours they were actively teaching during their portion of the module. What also qualifies as teaching hours is if an instructor is assisting students with hands-on practice, whether inside or outside the classroom, as well as overseeing and sign-offs during skills evaluations, along with participation in Skills 4 or the checkup event. An additional 10 hours may be awarded to the lead instructor, as well as 8 hours for mentors because of their added work and their limited lecture time. Now, examples of what does not count as instructor hours would be monitoring another instructor by either following along in the book, interjecting information, or even answering questions. Many modules run smoother if the instructor teaching the module concentrates on that part and another instructor helps out by showing car seats, doing seat install demonstrations, or handing out equipment, all of which are not counted towards teaching hours. Also, setting up and breaking down practice and skills evaluations, as well as proctoring quizzes, do not count as teaching hours. You can receive teaching hours for reviewing either before or after a quiz. So now let's practice what you learned. So if you have a piece of paper or a pen or just your good old fingers, we have 3 scenarios to test your knowledge on calculating instructor hours. Our first scenario is, as a lead instructor, you also teach modules 1 for 45 minutes and participate in Skills 4, which is the checkup event, for 3 hours. How many hours did this lead instructor earn? Well, remember, a lead instructor can also earn 10 additional hours plus any teaching hours, which was the 45 minutes and the 3 hours for the checkup event. That totaled 13 hours and 45 minutes. Our next scenario is, as an instructor, you teach Module 3 for 45 minutes, Module 6 for 50 minutes, Module 8 for 130 minutes. You set up Skills Evaluation number 2 for 20 minutes, conduct sign-offs for all 3 skills evaluations, which total 3 hours and 20 minutes for one, 1 hour for another, and 1 hour and 35 minutes for another skills evaluation, and participates in Skills 4, which is the checkup event, for 3 hours. So what do you think that the total would be on these instructor hours? Well, in this scenario, the only thing that you could not count would be setting up skills evaluation number 2. Everything else does qualify for teaching hours. So the total you should have gotten was 11 hours and 50 minutes. So on our final scenario, as an instructor candidate, you teach Module 4 for 130 hours, Module 7 for 65 hours, minutes, 65 minutes, Module 11 for 15 minutes. You record all the initial vehicle information on the vehicle sheets for 15 minutes. You set up skills evaluation number 1 for 30 minutes, and you assist with all the sign-offs on 3 skills evaluations for a total of 355 minutes, along with participating in skills evaluation number 4 for 3 hours. So how many hours do you think that the instructor candidate just earned? Well, instructor candidates do not actually earn teaching hours, even though we do count and calculate the hours just for class documentation. So the answer would be the instructor candidate would earn 0 hours, but if you were calculating all of these hours, it would be 12 hours and 41 minutes. Things can be very complicated, so this is why it is imperative the lead instructor confirms with each of the instructors their total teaching hours before they are entered into the system. Because remember, they cannot be changed once they're in the system. As a way to help lead instructors accurately calculate their instructor hours, there is an instructor hour calculation worksheet available on the certification website, which calculates the hours automatically. You can either print a hard copy and fill it out during the class, or you can have the form available on your computer. Whether you use an agenda, the worksheet, or a scratch piece of paper, teaching hours need to be as accurate as possible. To start the course finalization process, log into your CPS online profile, click Show All under Manage Courses from the left menu, select Details for the correct course that you choose, and click Finalization tab to display the grading page. Or simply scroll down to the bottom for your courses and select Finalization next to the correct course. The information which will be needed to complete the finalization process is each student's grades, both the written scores and the overall pass-fail for the skills, and total teaching hours for each instructor. Remember, all the specific grades will be on the student score sheet, so the scoring sheet should be kept in the course file for one certification cycle in the event of a course audit, or we call these desk audits. In order to proceed with the course finalization process, all instructor teaching hours must be filled in. For this example, one student did not complete the checkup event yet, so it was left blank. After logging back in at a later date to complete the process and enter the grades for car seat technician, you will see a screen similar to this. It will show only the students that still are awaiting grade entries, along with all the instructors in yellow, which are unable to be modified. Once the pending student completes a checkup event within 2 weeks of the course, then his grades can be entered. The course will remain pending finalization, waiting for all the entries to be completed. Individual technician candidates can be finalized and given their technician ID wallet cards, allowing them to immediately use their new skills. The overall course will remain pending until each technician candidate status has been changed to finalized. When you are logged into the course, there will be 4 tabs: the overall, the roster, the signups, and the wallet card. The roster tab, which is highlighted, will be given will give all the students information, their grades, and their course finalization status. Since there was no scores entered for car seat technician, then his status is displayed as registered. As previously mentioned, the reason that course can be finalized and you can finalize individual students is so they do not have to wait to get their certification credentials. The wallet card tab will list anyone who passed the course. By clicking on their name, a wallet card with their tech ID number can be printed or saved on an electronic device. Remind all the technicians it is a good idea to always have this information with them whenever attending the event. Technicians can also print their own wallet cards by clicking on Print Wallet Card in the action items of their own profiles. The last thing to finalize a course is if there was an instructor candidate in the class. Their evaluation paperwork must be submitted to the Safe Kids within 5 business days of the course completion. Both the mentor and the instructor candidate should keep copies of the submitted paperwork, which can easily be done by scanning the documents and attaching them to an email. The lead instructor should also place a copy into the course file in the event there is an audit of the course. So now, we mentioned audits a few times throughout this presentation. So what are there are 2 types of course audits which are conducted on any course, both a certification course and a renewal course. An in-person audit and a desk audit. As a national certification, it is Safe Kids' responsibility to ensure policies and procedures relating to courses are being adhered to, and we do this through audits. In-person audits are when the quality assurance specialist is integrated into the teaching team and works side by side with the instructor. As the quality assurance specialist, opportunity to see innovative ways of running a class. It also allows me to learn from other instructors and the ability to share the ideas with all instructors as a whole through articles in the CPS Express or on online social media posts. This also gives us an opportunity to evaluate policies and procedures which may need to be updated for the benefit of the program. So now, what is a desk audit? Just like every instructor or technician can be audited after the recertification, a course audit can be done. This process involves reviewing all the paperwork from the course. The lead instructor will initially be requested to submit the documents, but at any time, members of the instructor team can be asked to provide additional documentation or verbal confirmation of the information. In addition, depending on the circumstances, students may be contacted for further confirmation if needed to make an accurate assessment. Course audits can be conducted either by random selection or may be initiated due to a complaint or concern. A hypothetical example could be Safe Kids being notified a course did not conduct a Skills 4 checkup event, which is a requirement for the certification. One CPS certification status may be at risk if an instructor or member of the instructor team is found to have neglected established policies and procedures, fails to provide the required documentation within the specified time, or if any documentation is falsified. So all the paperwork from the courses should be saved for 1 certification cycle or 2 years from the end of the course. Documents which may be requested are the course agenda, the instructor allocation hour sheet, quiz answer sheet, hands-on skills evaluation instructor logs, skills evaluation answer sheet, checkup event information such as the checkup forms, the appointment sheets, or the event advertisement. If there were course evaluations, instructor candidate evaluations, if there were any, and any additional documentation which you may wish to provide, such as course notes. So really, the key to an easy course finalization is really staying organized and keeping accurate records. Thank you for joining us, and if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to call myself or customer service. Please stay safe and healthy, and make sure to follow us on Facebook at National CPS Certification. Thank you, and have a great day.